Hi guys, Igor again, in the next chapter of creating the best TODO app Java. Let's go. What we have done for the last few episodes, we have implemented always all requirements that we had besides the filter requirement with the name and the description. And everything that we have is served from the memory, as we have here. This is TODO service that we have implemented the last time, and in-memory TODO repository. And we have glorious tests for all of that. So what we should do next? Next we have this filter functionality to be implemented, but as we have decided in TODO service, we delegate all of this responsibility to the repository, and we have in-memory repository that we will throw away. So I don't think it is worth implementing it here. It's not worth doing because we throw it away, as I said. So I think we should implement real SQL TODO repository. And as always, we start with the test, but this time I have prepared some code to make the whole process faster. So what do we have? We have a DB folder with the schema file. Here we have the schema for our TODO table, simple table, 3 fields, same really as our model. So we have long ID, string name, and the string description, and we have the same here. So ID is big serial, primary key, not null text name, and optional text description. And I have also prepared the test class for our repository. I have also prepared SqlTodoRepository, but nothing is implemented here. I just stated that we implement TODO repository, and the methods are empty, and we have DSL context from the JOOQ library. As I said in the first part, we'll use JOOQ to talk with the database here. And I have prepared some code for our integration tests. So we have a SqlTodoRepository test class, and we will use test containers to spin up Postgres in a Docker. And I will not explain that in detail here. I have made a separate video for that, so check that out. Here we will, as I said, we will spin up Postgres in Docker, and so I have prepared code for that. So basically you have all setup method that will, before our test, it will start Postgres container, then we initialize the JOOQ context, and JOOQ DSL context is really an object that will allow us to talk with the database, send SQL queries, and so forth to it. So nothing magical here. Here we also have init schema. So basically you are taking current working directory, which is here, which is the best TODO app, and we are reading schema from that file. And after reading that, we are executing it, which in that context means that we will create this TODO table. Okay, and in the tear down method, which is called after each test, we will truncate to the table, but it is not ready. We write code for that, and after our tests are done, we stop the Postgres container. Okay, so I think that's it, and we can start with the implementation actually. So what we should do first? We will start with the test, but before that, let's maybe use JOOQ library to describe our table here. So in JOOQ we will create objects to represent the table and its fields. So we do this like that. We have TODO table. Here we'll call the cell method just with the name like that, and right now we'll create all of the fields that we have, which will allow us to make SQL queries, as we'll see. So long for ID field, string for the title, I believe. Yeah, title, oh, name field, string, and description like that, and we have our table described. Okay, here we can truncate it after all tests that we don't have all done. So we'll basically say it context truncate execute like that, and we can start writing tests, guys. So what we should do first we have to-dos. So I would say that depending on the filters, we are expecting to get different to-dos. So a few cases really. So maybe start with the simplest one, which is that to-dos even in, or maybe we want to have a case where we return empty to-dos because the database is empty. So maybe to-dos with empty db returns empty like that. Okay, and we have basically what we'll assume is that assertions are equal to empty list. And with filters or not. So here I would say that it's not really important. Okay, we got null, I believe. Yes. So let's start with the simplest implementation. So let's select ID, name, and description from TODO table. As you can see, it is almost like SQL but type safe, and yeah, without where maybe for now. We will implement it later, and here we are just mapping fields to the object. Okay, what is wrong with that? ID field. Yeah, type. Okay, let's run it. It passes. Okay, so the next case I would say is that to-dos with filters returns filtered to-dos actually, But for that, I would say that we need parameterized test. And based on the name and description, we expect to have different result. So how we can do that? Okay guys, I would create an enum for that, like that. Let's say TODO's test case. Let's say no filters. It will be clear what I mean. Give me a minute. Here we'll get TODO's test case enum. Here we will have test case. Okay. Here we have a method. TODO's test case, or rather prepare TODO's test case. Right now it will not return anything, but we will return data needed to our test. So we need to have name filter, description filter, so input and expected output. So let's create actually a record and call it TODO's test case data, and name filter, description filter, and our expected output, which is TODO's, like that. Okay, and here we will return it. So TODO's test case data. Right now let's return null. Here we'll have test case data. We'll call prepare test case data with the enum. It is prepared to do test case, so we prepare data there, and here we will just simply assume that test case data TODO's is equal to test case data name filter and test case data description filter. Yeah, so maybe let's call it expected TODO's, like that. Okay, and now we just need to implement it, guys. So what do we need? We have a few cases, but for now let's say that we have only one case, so no filters. We need to create this and return them. Okay, so how about methods like that? Create TODO, and we will do something like that. TODO's, list of some TODO's, some TODO, and let's say some TODO, some description. Okay, here TODO's for each, create TODO, something like that, and let's return TODO test case null TODO's. Let's maybe call it null filters. Okay, and let's create TODO, guys. How we can do that? We will use JOOQ library for that. So you take context, insert into, and we use constants that we have in our repository class. So table, columns, ID, because we want to control it, ID, something like that. We have columns and we have values. And that TODO ID, TODO name, TODO description, and to investigate the JOOQ library, I want to show you something that here we will have just regular SQL, which is amazing. Let's call it like that and see what will happen. Okay, it's obviously failed, but we have insert into TODO ID name description, and the next one, no magic guys, as we love here. Okay, but we don't need it, so we can call it just execute, and it will insert our TODO to the database. Let's see. Okay, it works. Let's add another case. So empty filters, and here we should return empty filters. So I would say that we need to split it to methods, like private, to this case, prepare empty null or empty test case, something like that. For that we have that, and we just say that name filter if test case is null, empty. Same with description filter. Okay, description TODO's name filter. Let's maybe create a method actually for creating TODO's. Create TODO's, because we use it probably almost always like that. So create TODO's, and yeah, right now we just say that prepare null or empty test case. We refactor it in a while. Okay, so obviously these are pretty simple cases, but we need more. We need something like name filter, or maybe let's call it only name filter, only description filter, and name and description filters. Yeah, I think that's enough actually. Okay, and what we should do with that, guys, we should say that for each of this case we will create separate method. So what I mean something like that. Switch for new Java. Here we will have cases. TODO's test case, prepare only name filter test case, like that. We'll not implement it for now. Prepare only description filter test case, okay, and prepare name and description filters test case. And here we will use switch and say that case now empty filters, prepare null or empty, then case only name, prepare only name test case, case only description filter, prepare only description filter test case, and case name and description filter, prepare name and description filters test case, something like that. And what they want here, okay, yeah, and we need to return it like that, and it should fail. Yes. Okay. And let's prepare our cases one by one, guys. So, only name filter test case. Let's create something like 3 to-dos. We also need to create them like that, and let's create name filter that will match, I don't know, 2 of them. Actually, let's create something that's case sensitive like that, and let's create, maybe change it to something like that, because we want to match, we need to match according to our requirements. We need to match something that contains given phrase, given filter, and is case insensitive. So let's have actually, yeah, 2 cases will be enough. So we'll match with some, maybe like that, and we have expected to-dos. We need to-dos first will match, and the second will match. So maybe let's create sub list, right? Okay, and let's return name filter, now description filter, and expected to-dos. And obviously it will fail, yes, but it returns all to-dos because we don't have where clause. And where in JOOQ you have condition object, so let's prepare our condition. So condition, let's call it to-dos condition, and based on name filter and description filter we will return different condition. To-dos condition, and first case, if name filter is null or not. let's maybe approach it different. So condition, no condition, so always true, and maybe if name filter is not null and name filter is not blank, we will say that condition equals name field like, actually like, do we have it? We don't. Oh, we have like ignore case, and we need to do something like that. So anything before and then our name, and anything after, like that. Okay, what is wrong? More formed. Yeah, maybe let's change it to, because it's not really readable. So something like that, I would say, and that to lowercase. And if description filter is not null and description filter is not blank, we do actually condition and will end because we need to match both if we are giving two filters. So here we need to do the same with the description. Okay, and let's run it. Okay, only name filter passed. So let's create something similar for description, guys. Okay, you can have almost the same data. Here, let's say that description filter, something like, I don't know, this. And here, let's say that, yeah, this will match. Let's create that, and maybe fourth to do something like that. So test and title, here some another I wanted to say description, but it will match this, so maybe some another data. Okay, and here what will match? The first one and the second one, right? So sublist like that. Let's use blank name filter and description filter, and the fourth case should pass. Okay, guys, we have it. So last case, when it comes to filter, name and description filter. So name filter, let's say that TODO will be our filter. Let's modify something. So this will match according to name filter, but the description is not matching. Yeah, same as for second, so maybe let's swap something here. Or maybe actually we can reuse this data, but here let's give description to test that we have test. So it would match, but it will not, because we have to do and name filter. So yeah, so this should match. Also these two items, because to do and test. Yeah, this would match according to do, but it is not matching according to test description filter, and this would match according to description filter but not to the name. So we'll test if and condition is working. Okay, it works. So can we refactor something, guys? I think this one. Let's create condition like case sensitive condition, maybe field and like expression, or maybe just like, okay, and almost like that, but here field and like, and here like case sensitive condition, name field, name filter here, and description. Okay, and we can do this with confidence because we have tests, guys. We don't need to be worried about bugs and things of that strange nature. Okay, we have that. That was the longest, I think, to-dos. Next is create. So we can copy the code from that, almost, because we want to return ID. Like that. But here there is not insert ID field, but name and description, and we will return the ID field, fetch optional, something like that. We need to duplicate it. Okay, so simple test, one case, I think. We just need to say that create given to do creates it and creates it returning to do, something like that. So let's create some to do data, to do one description, so to do ID. So let's create it, and actually we will need to query database for to do. So let's create a method here like to do by ID, and let's say context select from to do all fields, fetch new to do ID name and the description. Okay, and what is wrong, guys? Yes, I skipped get call like that. Okay, fetch 1, I believe. Yeah. Here we have it. And basically, we create TODO. We are expecting to get newly created TODO ID. Here we assert that actually we need to create expected TODO. So TODO ID, TODO name, TODO description, something simple like that. So expected TODO needs to be equal to TODO by ID that we have returned from create method. Let's verify. Okay, it works. It works. Do we need to test something else here, guys? Maybe null description. So let's maybe do something like that. So create given to we have just a field like that, null description parameter, and we say that if null description will be null, other case it will not be null. Okay, that's not found. Okay, update. Let's start with the tests. So what cases do we want to have here, guys? Simplest one, update given non-existing TODO does nothing. So that when to test that it will not throw exception. Does not throw. We have to assert that our code does not throw any exception. So something like that. Yeah, given non-existing TODO does nothing. Yeah, good enough. Okay, and let's update TODO, guys. So update, we want to set name to TODO name, and we want to also set description to TODO description, and where TODO not this one, ID field equal ID, and execute. Okay, so update given existing TODO updates. Here maybe let's also test null and not null description. So true, false, null description. But before updating, we need to create TODO. We did this here. Okay, but we have created TODO methods. Okay, no problem. So new TODO some next TODO null description 22. I don't know. Okay, let's create this TODO do, and let's create updated to do. Actually, here we should say that, I don't know, maybe let's append something to name. And here I would say that if null, description null, and in other case let's add something or some another description, something like that. Here we don't care about whether this is null or not, and here let's just say that repository update, we have to do ID, and we have updated to do, and expected to do, guys, is the following: to do also ID, and the updated name, updated to do description. Okay, and we can get assertion from that one. Okay, maybe let's create a variable like that. Here and here. It should work, I would say. Yeah, it works. I'm thinking, can we refactor here something? I feel that we have some duplication. To data to yeah, maybe let's create a method like, I don't know. Oh, here we have a bug. We don't have where. It's passing because we have one to do actually. Oh, that's a good point. In update, let's maybe create more to do's. So let's say create to do and another. Let's create another to do. Okay, that's a good point. And let's create a method like to do data to do or to do data based on to do, or we need the opposite actually. Here we want to have to do data. No, we want to have to do. So to do data and let's say ID. Let's return to do. Okay, something like that. Name, description, and let's get back to the beginning, guys. So here we have to data. Let's call it to do, and here the same to do. So we have to do ID and updated. Okay, let's maybe run all tests at once right now. And we only need to implement the delete methods. Okay, they work. So let's implement the delete, but let's maybe start with the test. So for that, I would say we need to have something similar, like delete given non-existing to do does nothing. So delete. Let's run it. Okay, it works. So implement it. It will be very simple, like delete from where id field equals id and execute. Okay, so delete given existing to do deletes it. Okay, and let's not make the mistake that we did here. Okay, I know what we should fix, because we don't know if another to wasn't updated, so we should have something like that. Another to do, and we should say that another to do is equal to the previous value, so it should be touched, because without it we are not sure if this where is working. Let me give an example. Actually, we can comment the where, and the test will not work, but it will fail here, and without that assertion we don't know that whether the where clause works or not. And right now obviously it will work. Yeah, and we should do the same here. Actually, let's do something similar. We don't need that. Okay, maybe let's change it a little. First to the ID, second to the ID. Let's call it like that. First to do, first to second to. Let's maybe switch it a little to increase entropy. And repository delete first to do. And what do we want, guys? We want to say that actually yeah, I know. The assert null and to do by ID, first to do ID should return us null, and the second one should be the same. The second to should exist. Yeah, and this would mean that everything is as expected. Let's see. Yeah, it works, guys. Let's run all tests together. They work. So let's see. Should we change something? I think that we have a little different convention when it comes to test naming. We have should everything, so let's rename it should return empty, should return filtered to-dos, should create it, returning to-do, should do nothing again, should update it like that, same here, should do nothing, and should delete it. Okay, and that's it, I think. Yeah, let's run it, and this will conclude today's episode. Okay guys, so we have prepared the whole SqlTodo repository that do all needed by us operations in the database. But we haven't used it, obviously. The best TODO app is still using in-memory TODO repository. So the next time we will actually spin up a separate database and we'll use it in a runtime and see if it works. So if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I see you in the next one. See ya.